Daf Chesam Beis. Good morning. Okay. How was Shabbos?
Good. Baruch Hashem.
Okay. I'm sorry. It's not Chesam Beis, it's Chesam Aleph. On the bottom. Gufa. It's 8A. 5 lines from the bottom. It was taught before. Amar Rav. Rav says, Mincha kedosha b'loy shemen. That a mincha, if you put the flour into the bowl, it's holy even before you put the oil in. You put the oil in after, but the flour becomes holy on its own, and when you put the oil in, it becomes the oil becomes holy. But as you add in, it becomes sanctified. In the brackets it says Vein Dina Kisar and Chaser. Okay. We had a machlekes before about Isar and Chaser. That was a machlekes between Rabbi Lazar. No, that was by Chaviti Kain Gadol. I think it was Rav. Yeah, Achatzi Yisar and V'dait L'Haiz. Rav says Ein HaKadosh. Over here says it's perfect. It's perfect. You put it in, it becomes sanctified. You add the oil later, and the oil then you'll be allowed to offer it, do the kmitza and offer the kaimetz on the altar. Shekematzina b'lechem apanim, because that's actually what we find by the lechem apanim, the showbread, the 12 loaves of bread. That you have just the flour there without oil. B'loy levina. Let's say you have a mincha without levina. Before you put in the levina, is it holy in the vessel before you put the levina on top? Levina is the frankincense, the incense that put on top of it. It's not mixed in; it's just put on top. Shekein matzina b'minchas nesachim. Because when you bring a sacrifice and you bring flour and oil along with it, you don't put levina on that. It's called minchas nesachim. It's one of the types of minchas. It comes along with an animal. There's no levina. So you see that a mincha could become sanctified without the frankincense, without the levina. B'loy shemno, b'loy levina. What about without either? Without any of it? Just the flour. You put the flour. You don't have put the oil. You didn't put the oil in yet. You didn't put the levina on it yet. Is it sanctified? Because it's put into the vessel. It says yes. Shekim matzina b'minchas chayte. Because we find by the sin offering made out of flour that it's only flour. It doesn't have oil and it doesn't have the frankincense. So that means that it could become sanctified even without those ingredients. Okay. Now the Gemara says, "Shemen, v'shemen u'levina kadshi, hai b'lay hai v'hai b'lay hai." We're doing the opposite now. Before we're talking about the flour without the oil. Now we're talking about the oil itself and the levina itself. The oil, you put it into the jug. The levina, you put it into the spoon or whatever. Each one could become sanctified, one without the other. Shemen, where do you see that oil could be sanctified? Shekem matzina b'leik shemen shel mitzayra. Because you find that by the mitzayra, he brings a jug of oil and there's no flour there, just the oil. So therefore, when you put the oil into the pan, that's already considered that it's an offering, because we find somewhere else that that's an offering. Levina. Where do we find that levina is brought on its own? This line of the Gemara is slightly difficult. Because we find that the frankincense that comes with the showbread comes on its own. The question is, it's not on its own, it comes with the showbread. flour with. We're trying to prove that Bezichan on its own comes on its own. Rashi tries to explain it. He says, the kasha, the bottom two lines. Asi lechem apanim ba'adayu. He says, lav pirchi shareina miskadashim alavenu Bezichan. Doesn't get sanctified with it. Problem is, the Gemara said before that shekim etzina belechem apanim, that it comes without oil, but we didn't say it comes without levina. I could have used it if we wanted to prove.
So you're saying automatically has to be with the rain now?
Yeah, because before we tried to prove, show me an example of a mincha that comes without oil. We said okay, lechem apanim. So show me an example of a mincha that comes without levina. So we said minchas. We said minchas nesachim. It comes without levina. Why don't we just do lechem apanim again if it comes without levina? If each one is independent. When it comes to levina, we say, give me an example of levina without bread. We say the levina that's on the lechem by the lechem apanim, it comes without the bread. Okay, whatever the case is, that's other people are discussing it, and we can go on. Okay, Rabbi Chanina Amar. This was all the opinion of Rav. That Rav says each one can be brought independent, not brought independently. That's not correct. Rav says that each one, as it's put into the bowl, becomes sanctified, and it's already sanctified. And what you add to it afterwards will allow it to be brought, but it already becomes sanctified. Each ingredient as it's being added. Rabbi Chanina Amar. Rabbi Chanina says, "Leizu kedusha b'leizu, b'leizu kedusha b'leizu." It doesn't become sanctified until all the ingredients are in it. Okay, I'm on top of 8b. The Gemara has a question now. According to Rabbi Chanina, there's one of the measuring cups in the Beis Hamikdash. It's a measuring cup of an isaron. The measuring cup of the isaron was smeared with oil. Why? Because when you're going to add into it an isaron of flour, we want this isaron to become, this flour to become sanctified. So we have a holy vessel that's sanctified. The question is,
According to Rabbi, it's already sanctified the moment we put it in.
According to Rav,
When
I fill up this with flour, it becomes sanctified. But according to Rabbi Chanina, when I fill it up with flour, it's not sanctified yet. I still need to fill it up with oil.
So this is proving Rabbi Chanina.
It's proving Rav. Why? Because the oil doesn't go into this one. Nisaron was a measuring cup. I have a measuring cup in the Beis Hamikdash that was anointed. Why? Because when I put the flour in it, it should become sanctified. According to Rabbi Chanina, flour alone doesn't become sanctified. I never needed to anoint the Isaron measuring cup, because I only have to anoint the one that will hold the flour with the oil. You follow?
Yeah.
So the Gemara says, "Leminchas chayte." It's not so. You have one mincha where there's only flour, so it becomes sanctified with just the flour. Other menachos not, but this one yes. Minchas chayte, the sin offering. The Gemara now asks, "V'loig lama nimshach." What about the? This is quoting a brisa that I think we had earlier, the different kalim, what they were, and we had it in Zvachim, I think. The different kalim, one of them was an isaron, one of them is a loig. We said, why do we have to anoint it? You never bring oil without the oil doesn't become sanctified without the flour. So the Gemara says, no, it's not so. We have one example, loig shel mitzayra. When the leper is bringing his sacrifice afterwards, he has to put the oil on his fingers, remember? And so he brings one loig, it's a measurement of oil. And there's no flour in it. What the Gemara says, V'af Shmuel savarla lahad Rav. Shmuel agrees with Rav. The Gemara says this like as if it's a surprise. Shmuel and Rav they argue about a lot of things, but he says in this case, Shmuel sides with Rav over Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Chanina was around the same time in Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Chanina Bar Chama was one of the first Amiran, Eretz Yisrael Amiran. The Tanan Shmuel holds like Rav. Where do we see this? Well, it was taught in the Mishnah. Klei alach mekachem esalach. Vessels that are made to hold liquid, they sanctify the liquid that's put in them. Midas hayavish, mekachem esayavish. Measuring cups of dry measures sanctify the dry goods, the dry ingredients that are put into it. If you exchange, if you put the flour into a jug instead of into the bowl, and if you put the oil into the bowl instead of into the jug, it doesn't sanctify one another. Va'amar Shmuel, and Shmuel says, Leishanu, this was not taught only, this was only taught, Elamidais, Aval Mizrakais, Mikachis Esayavish. Shmuel says, when do we say that you can't exchange a liquid for you can't put, it doesn't get sanctified, a liquid measure, a liquid in a dry measuring cup, or something dry in a liquid measuring cup, when does that not work? Only if you're talking about a measuring cup itself. But when you're talking about a mizrak, which is just a regular bowl that was used to catch the blood, but it's not a measuring cup, it's not used for measuring, so then even if it's exchanged one for the other, dry for, it's fine. Shenemar, he has a proof. It says Shneim Malayim Seilas, Pula Bashem and Lemincha. Very interesting. We mentioned this yesterday. The Nesiim brought a plate and a bowl. Karachas, Mizrak Echad, right? What was it? Karbanai Karas Kesev Achas, and then Mizrak Echad Kesev, Shivim Shekel B'Shekel. Okay, this Shneim Malayim Seilas. What's a Mizrak? A Mizrak is a cup that catches the blood. But in this case, when they brought it filled with flour. Not blood, they brought it filled with flour. So we see that the flour is being contained in a mizrak, which is used for a liquid. So that's Shmuel's proof that even though the Mishnah says that it doesn't get sanctified if it's put in the opposite type of container, but that's only if it's a measuring container. But if it's just a mizrak, just a bowl that's used to catch the blood, then it will become sanctified. That's Shmuel's proof. Okay.
So basically, you're arguing what makes it holy. Is it the vessel or the actual flour and oil, you're saying?
Yeah. Does each ingredient alone become holy?
Or is the vessel that makes it?
The Machlekes Rav and Shmuel and Rabbi Chanina is if each ingredient alone gets holy. Shmuel discusses a Mishnah that's proving that he holds like Rav, is because the Mishnah says that only the vessel that's made for it will sanctify it.
So is it the ingredient or is it the vessel that's making it holy?
It's the ingredients in the correct vessel. However, he says that if I put flour, you follow this?
Yeah.
Shmuel then says that if I put flour into a liquid cup, because it's not a measuring cup, it becomes sanctified. But what I'm seeing from that is, here's the point, that I can put flour alone and it's already sanctified. You hear? Because he says something dry. Where do I have something dry? Must be that there's no oil. You see, it becomes here, must hold like Rav. That's a proof. It's not a proof. What's Shmuel saying? The mincha is wet. The mincha has oil. So Amalei, he doesn't answer that. Amalei, well, because he's talking about the mizrak. Shneim Malayim Seilas Blul Bashemen. In the pasuk that the Nesiim brought, it was filled with oil. So it was mixed, flour mixed with oil, but it had oil in it. So Amalei Leinitzchal Yavish Shaba. What it means is that whenever you mix flour and oil, it's possible that you didn't mix it perfectly well. So because it's a container that holds liquid, so I would say only the part of the flour that's mixed with oil is the part that's sanctified. There's little pockets of flour there that are not sanctified because they're dry. And this is a liquid measuring. And not a measuring, this is a liquid container. So the Gemara says, V'yisal k'dayt l'kasavar shmol ein mincha k'dosh ad shiu kuli yavish ad shiu ein mincha k'dosh that the mincha doesn't become holy changes something here? Oh, that's what's going on over here. I didn't read this because I took it out. Okay. The understanding here is that since little pockets of flour become sanctified, so probably if the whole thing was dry, it would also be sanctified. So, where are you supposed to skip till the end of the parentheses?
Yeah.
Iba Yasema, it's strange that it starts with the Iba Yasema. Oh, Iba Yasema, because we gave one answer. The first answer was that it is dry. I have another answer. Shmuel is saying that yes, I know that we've mixed flour and oil in a container that usually holds liquid, and you responded that well, you have oil in there, so it's a liquid. He says no, it's not a liquid. It's a liquid relative to something that's totally dry, but relative to blood, which is supposed to be in this container, this is a dry product. So therefore, because this is considered dry, and it's in a container that was supposed to hold liquid, so probably if it would be totally dry as well, the same rule would apply, and therefore the fact that there's oil mixed in doesn't matter, and it would have been sanctified with the flour alone. We're not making a big deal about the oil when it's in a container that holds blood. Okay. Our main point here was that to say that flour alone would be sanctified according to Shmuel, which is the opinion of Rav, not like Rabbi Chanina.
And so over here you see it doesn't matter what the vessel is though.
Right. It doesn't matter the vessel according to Shmuel, but the Mishnah says that it does matter the vessel. That Mishnah is talking about measuring vessels. It's not a measuring vessel, it doesn't matter.
So Shmuel doesn't totally agree with Rav.
Why?
Because Shmuel said that it's only someone's not a measuring vessel.
No, Rav never told us that measuring vessels will do it. Well, all Rav said is that dry becomes sanctified. The flour becomes sanctified before I put in the oil. Each ingredient that you add becomes sanctified.
That's what's more saying about measurement. About the measuring cup.
So then we wanted to prove that Shmuel holds like Rav, because we are saying that Shmuel holds that you can put in just flour and it's already sanctified. Where do we see that? Because Shmuel says that if I use a different cup and I put in flour, I don't need Shmuel to say the wrong cup and I put in flour. What I need Shmuel to say is that you put in flour alone and it becomes sanctified. That's what I need. I don't have that, but I do have it in this obscure case where he put flour into a mizrak, but I see that flour alone would be sanctified. Gufa. It's taught before. Amar Rebbe Lazar. Mincha shekamtza beheichal kshera. A mincha that the kmitza was done in the heichal, it's kosher. Shekei matzino b'silak bezichen. Because we find that when the spoons are taken off from the lechem apanim, from the showbread, from the table, that's considered like kmitza. That's considered like and we find that that's done in the heichal. the table was in the heichal. And they took the spoons off and they burnt the spoons. So therefore, any other mincha that would be done, that the kmitza would be performed in the heichal, is also good. Why? Because we have precedent for that by the bazichan. Masav Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbi Yirmiyah asks Rebbe Lazar a question. It says that you'll do kmitza from there, and what does it mean from there? The Brisa says, from the place where the zar is standing. That means that you can't be in the heichal. There were 11 amas that a non-kohen could enter into the courtyard.
Maybe or Yisrael.
Yisrael.
Even Yisrael.
Yeah. It's Drisas Yisrael. But what does this tell me? That it needs to be the courtyard. Not the heichal is no good. Now the Gemara, the Brisa continues. Ben b'seiraim im minayin shem kametz b'smal sheyachziv eksperimin tamlam v'kametz misham makom shekametz kvar. Okay. The end of the Brisa says that Ben Beseira learned something else from this. That if you did kmitza, we had this in the Mishnah. If you did kmitza with your left hand, you go back and you do kmitza from the right hand. It says v'kametz misham, you do kmitza from the place, that you already did kmitza before. Okay, but whatever the case is, I have a brisa, Tanakama, that says I learned Kamat Misham that it's supposed to be in the courtyard, not in the Heichel. Maybe Rabbi Lazar is not correct. Some say that Rabbi Yirmiyah asked the question, and he also answered the question. Some say that Rabbi Yaakov responded to Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Tachlifa. Is Rabbi Yirmiyah always Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Tachlifa? I don't know. Over here, I don't know. I gotta research that because there's Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, right? This is a good Wikipedia. Each Amira has a page.
Okay,
It's Rabbi Yirmiyah that's talking to Rabbi Lazar, so it's Rabbi Yirmiyah in second or third generation Amira.
And who was Rabbi Yaakov?
We have a Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba and a we have a Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba that was by Abaya. Remember the Gemara? He went to Abaya, but I don't know if it's the same one. Abaya's later. No, that could have been. Over there, it looked like he was much older, because in that Gemara, he sends his son. Rabbi Yaakov sends his son. Abba sends his son Abba to go learn by Abaya. Sees his son isn't learning, so he says, "Forget it. You stay home. I'm gonna go." And he himself goes to learn. When he gets there, Abaya considers him like a great tzaddik. Probably he's older, but I don't know. I'm making that up. Okay, so some say that Rabbi Yirmiyah answers the question. We're discussing if the kmitza could be performed in the heichal, or if it needs to be in the courtyard. Where does he do the scooping? He says, Leinitzricha, that pasuk that says that you do the kmitza in the place where the Yisrael can stand, that's only necessary, ela lahachshis kol azar kula. That's telling me, not that it needs to be there, it's telling me that it can be there. It may be there. Right? Shalai taimar, because I could have thought differently. I could have said, because I have an animal sacrifice called an Eily, which is entirely burnt. And I also have the mincha. Both of them are kodesh kadashim, ma Eily to nitzafin, af mincha to nitzafin, just like the Eily. Needs to be on the north, the shechita. So too, the mincha would need to be on the north. Gemara says, nah, you wouldn't have thought that. How could you think that? Going to compare. Mal Eilish ken kalil. The Eily is entirely burnt. Has special halachas. You're not going to say a mincha is going to be the same. The Gemara says, well, mechatas. Chatas is also kadshe kadashim, and it needs to be on the north as well, and it's not entirely burnt. So we could have learned a mincha from a chatas. The Gemara says, no. Mal chatas ken mechaveres al chai v'krisis. That's special. A chatas is on the north. It has a kapara for very severe sins. May Asham, where it says no. We learn from an Asham. Asham is also Kodesh Kadashim. A Chatas, an Eily, and an Asham are all Kodesh Kadashim. They all need to be on the north. Now, an Asham is not entirely burnt. An Asham does not atone for Karis. So it's very similar to a Karban Mincha. And I would have thought that it needs to be on the north. It says, V'kametz Misham, that you could also be in anywhere in the Azara. The Gemara says, no, you can't learn from an Asham either. Mal Asham shkein mini damim. You can't learn from an Asham because that has blood. Mincha doesn't have blood. It's flour. So the Gemara says, Mikul nami shkein mini dam. You can't learn from all of them because they have blood. Eily. So why do I need the pasuk to tell me that it needs to be somewhere in the Azara? It's allowed to be anywhere in the Azara. Sal kedait chamina. Could have thought because the pasuk says vikriv ala kayin v'gishal mizbeach. It says v'kamat. It says that you bring to the kayin. The kayin brings it close to the mizbeach, and then he does kamitza. Ma hagasha. Where does he do? He brings it close to the mizbeach, just like the bringing it close is b'keren dremis maravis is in the southwest corner. Af kamitza nam b'keren dremis maravis. I would have thought that the kamitza is also on the southwest corner. Kamash malan, that it doesn't need to be there. The hagasha is there, but the kamitza could be anywhere else. Once you bring it close to mizbeach, you can bring it anywhere, and you can even do it on other parts of the azara. And this does not disprove Rabbi Lazar's din that it could even be performed in the heichal. Gufa. It was taught.
In the airport run.
We should have coordinated this. We had all of us in the airport this morning. Eily was in the airport also. Okay.
I heard Mashiach was coming, so I had to catch a flight.
Sometimes I see my neighbors in the store. I say, you should have given me the list.
Is this the flour and oil?
We're on the bottom of Ches Samad Beis, 8b. Gufa Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Shlamim sheshachtan beheichal ksherim. Karban shlamim, that's slaughtered in the heichal. In the heichal, in the sanctuary, they're going to make a mess. In the sanctuary. They're taking it inside. This is in the chamber itself, where the mizbeach is. Usually there's only the incense is in there, and the bread. Now they're going to slaughter an animal in there. Rabbi Yochanan says it's kosher. It's slaughtered at the entrance to the tent of meeting. If you can slaughter it at the entrance, which is secondary to the tent of meeting, the entrance should not be any better than the main thing. What's the main thing? Is the sanctuary itself. So if you can slaughter it at the entrance, for sure you can slaughter it in the sanctuary itself. Meisvei, the Gemara has a question. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Aimer. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira says, Minayin shemikif oiv dechav mesazara, shakainim nechnasam laheichal vaichlim bekotshei kadashim misher menachos. Possibly Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira was there by the destruction of the temple. He says like this, let's say the Gentiles are surrounding the courtyard and they're throwing stones over and arrows, and the Kainim can't stay there, there's no protection, because it's an open courtyard. So they're going to want to go inside to the Heichal where there's more protection. That's stone walls. The side walls are 6 amas wide. It's the huge, and there's very protected area. So they're going to want to go inside to eat over there. Are they allowed to eat Kodesh Kadashim and the remnants of the Mincha? Who knows how long they're going to have to stay in there? They're going to have to eat, right? Talmud Loimar, the pasuk says, the pasuk teaches us, Ba'kodesh Hakadashim Teichlenu, that it's eaten in the Holy of Holies. It means, obviously, that you're allowed to eat in the Kodesh HaKadashim. The Gemara says, V'lama likra. Why do I need a pasuk? To eat it in the Holies, you need a pasuk. I already know that you're supposed to eat it in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. And what's secondary should not be more significant than the main thing. If in the courtyard of the tent of meeting I'm supposed to eat it, so the tent of meeting itself is the main thing. I should be allowed to eat it in the actual sanctuary. Gemara says, no, hold it. You're making a comparison here, and it's not accurate, because avoida the adam oived b'makom rabbi yamrinan shlei tafel chamer meneker. When it comes to doing service, we're on 9a now. When it comes to doing the service, so a person will do service in front of his master. A servant will serve in front of his master. Even if his master's in the room, he'll do service. He'll sweep, he'll do whatever. So, if he has to do service outside where the master is, and for sure he can do service where the master is, because that's something that's respectable. But achila, when it comes to eating, a servant doesn't eat where his master is. So, time of the kas of kra. I need an actual pasuk to tell me that you can eat in the sanctuary. Holei kas of kra, but if there was no pasuk, lo yeitafel chamer meneker. Lo yeitafel chamer meneker le'amrinan. I don't say that this, what's secondary should not be more significant than what's primary, and therefore you should for sure be allowed to eat in the sanctuary. I don't say that. When it comes to service, if you serve outside, for sure you should serve inside, which means the shechita could be done in the sanctuary. When it comes to eating, which is also allowed to be done in the sanctuary, but that's only because I have a pasuk. It's not because I have logic that would tell me that. Because logically I would have said that, no, you don't eat inside there. That's not for eating. Okay. Itmar. It was stated by Amiram. Word itmar is a compound word. Is means there is, and amar means a statement. There is a statement, or it has been stated. The Amiram spoke in Hebrew. They learned in Hebrew, but their conversation is in Aramaic. So they're when they have a statement, they state it in Hebrew, and then afterwards it gets. Balala chutz l'chaymas hazara. The mincha was mixed with oil outside of the walls of the courtyard. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Psula. Rabbi Yochanan says it's not valid. Rish Lakish Amar Ksheira. Rish Lakish says it is valid. These were after, they're discussing this after the destruction. Rish Lakish Amar Ksheira. Rish Lakish says that it's valid. Tiksiv v'yatza kol Hashem and v'nasan al levayna v'hadar v'yol b'nei Aaron HaKohanim v'kamatz. Mikmitz v'elach mitzvahs kuna limed al yitziko b'lila shekshem b'zar. Mida kuna le'bay pnim, mida kuna le'bay pnim, nami le'bay. Okay.
Why say ksher twice? Rish Lakish Amar Ksher, Rish Lakish Amar Ksher.
Yeah. Let me explain. It gives us a statement.
Oh,
Rabbi
so you're
Yochanan
saying
Amar,
explaining.
yeah,
Okay.
and then it goes back to explain the reasoning.